The arm of the Lord was not shortened. He has a language of his own. At the first Pentecost, there was much motion. There was, in a sense, commotion. There was a certain spectacular intervention from on high. And the sign of language came through, the sign of tongues. God was indicating the importance of the tongue and of communication throughout culture and history, across the board, all languages. But in our time, that same Spirit is finding other means. He is finding means using modern technology. This is, in a sense, his way of communicating that same truth and power to the ends of the earth, in all the modalities of culture. And so it is that things are passed around. Recently, this has come around. It is from a Croatian priest who has posted it on the means that we have around the world nowadays to make something known. It was a dog trained to detect life there in the midst of natural calamities, because the dog, as we know, has a sense of smell and all that goes with it far beyond our own. They seem to have this divinely given gift of being able to pick up things beyond our sphere of perception. And they are correct. Indeed, so much so that we depend on them in criminal justice. And so it is that this happened recently. This dog happened to come into an open church and went straight to the tabernacle. Now this dog had been trained to behave in a certain way whenever there was human life that he was being sent to detect and save. And he assumed that posture, immobile, before the tabernacle, as it were gazing upon it and waiting for something to come to its rescue, because he knew and sensed there was life there. And that has happened before. Dogs have been known to do that when exposed to the presence in the tabernacle. When our Lord asks the disciples, "Who am I to you?" in our day, if we're not careful, we can give a courteous answer, but lacking in proof and backup. Even in the Lord's work, we can be doing all kinds of interesting things in place of actually giving that regard of utter centrality to the presence. The Lord is reminding us He is on earth. He is therefore at the centre of our attention. And He might actually send an animal to tell us so. With regard to the reading from St. James, the string of powerful sayings, which at first appearance may seem disjointed, is very Semitic in tone. Proverbs, sayings, gems, staccato, a good Jew. But this is the author who precisely talks about the power of the word, for good or for bad. it would be well to be aware of that, because in our time on earth we can consecrate our tongue to praise and also to proclamation, or we can weaken the power of word by its multiplication without utility, forgetting the wisdom of the old English proverb, empty vessels make most noise. And so it is that we need perhaps to take a secret away with us. James on this day is indicating the importance of eliminating prejudice. It's linked also with self-sufficiency and judgment badly made. Self-sufficiency is one of those illnesses which disenables the soul. It has no more to learn. The comedy, the tragedy of human life often revolves around problems with the word. We don't know how to use it. There is an interesting reflection on this in the commentary which I found actually on St. James, which I can quote here. It won't do any harm at all. It's a certain Father James McCarnes. St. James is known for his teaching about controlling our tongues. He says, the tongue is a small member, but it affects us mightily. Serious disagreements and fights can lead to dire consequences. And usually the problems start with words. There was once an elderly rabbi who kept his patience and controlled his temper, even when unfairly criticized. When someone would confront his views, he would often calmly say, "You might be right." Indirectly, he was informing his critic that he might not be right. Ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi